My name is Yukiko. I met Bree about a year ago. And when I met Bree about a year ago, I was in a very dark place, if you will. I was still uncertain about who I was looking back, but at the time, I obviously had no idea. I was dwelling in a lot of my insecurities and also sorrows, and also a lot of the things that society and my parents taught me as I was growing up. So I decided to take a leap and start my new direction about probably after my girls trip to Croatia. So I went to Croatia to sort of rejuvenate and get together with my college friends. And then at the time, my best friend was there as well. She lives in Amsterdam and I don't get to see her often, but she actually suggested to read Bree's book, Permission to Leap. So I bought that book right after I came back to New York, started reading it, and everything that I read was so moving, and also it resonated so much with what I believed already, and also parts of what happened in my life as well. Yeah, that's when I decided that I wanted to get to know Bree a little bit better and also see what she could offer to maybe give me a roadmap. When I made the decision to really sit with myself and look inside of myself, I took Bree's online seminar, which she was offering at the time, and I think it was about a 40-minute to an hour long session that she provided for us. So then I was like, okay, well, I like her. I loved her book. I want to see a little bit more about what she could offer me. So then I filled up the paperwork and I got a call with Bree. And at the time, it was really interesting because I had went through a similar course of self-improvement in the past, and I from that past experience I had learned that it's important to invest in yourself. This sort of fell on my lap at the right time. It was right after I had quit my job. It was when I was looking to look into myself. So I said, you know what, it's really scary. I'm unemployed at the moment. I do want to sign up though, because it seems like she has a great community of ladies as well. And I really wanted to get to know them too. And so after I had my call with Bree, I said yes and hung up the phone, but then got really scared about the amount of money that I committed to paying. So I sat there, turned on a nature documentary, and ate a pint of ice cream to calm myself down. And then after that, I said, you know what, Bree, I want to go all the way in. So let me just pay everything up front. I want to invest in myself, discover myself further. Through my coaching experience with Bree and her wonderful community of ladies, I've learned that most of the insecurities that I was able to identify, those were the insecurities that I thought I left behind in my 20s, because I went through a similar experience in my 20s as well. And I thought that I dealt with it in a certain way already, but then really looking down, digging down, those are things that we have to consistently work on. It's not something that I can sit there and think and write out for a week and go away. It doesn't work like that. So I think figuring out who you are, how you want to be, and then closing that gap. While I was in coaching with Bree, I decided to start my own business, which I always wanted to, but I was scared. And that was one of the discoveries that I had through the coaching session as well. So I said, you know what, I'm scared. That's never going to go away, but I have to start somewhere, and I'm going to keep fighting with this discomfort and move closer to the discomfort as much as possible. I saw a vision of me having my own business. And I think that was another comforting thing about the entire community that Bree built around her coaching, because it was a community of ladies who were all doing their own thing. These are ladies who are very strong, standing on their own foot, going out and doing something untraditional. And I really needed to be in a place like that to really tell myself that this is fine, this is normal, it's okay, because that was a whole another thing from my parents, very typical Asian parents, like you're gonna either be a lawyer, doctor, or an accountant kind of family. And my, siblings are all that. I have never really chose that life path for me. I've always been in the creative field. So that in itself, I felt like it's something that's making my parents unhappy. But it turns out my parents, they don't care what I do. So that was another really interesting finding as well. But yeah, overall, so I started putting everything together in terms of logistics for my company. So I got the LLC permits, all of that stuff lined up, websites. But then I still wasn't mentally ready to go after new clients or reach out to do business development. But then I did consistently act on my inspired active action. So that active inspired action I kept taking, but I wasn't necessarily doing it just to get business from people. And then also another thing that I was doing at the time was just keeping myself happy, my inside little Yukiko happy. So then what makes me really happy is to travel. So I just traveled for about, I think, 2.5 months to just have fun. And then at the tail end of my trip to Kenya, and on the day before that I was coming back to New York, I got a phone call from Tokyo saying that, hey, we need a bilingual creative producer. Do you want to fly out next week? And I was stunned by the fact that I didn't even do anything and it was a referral, but still somebody from Tokyo out of the blue called me looking for a bilingual producer. And I thought, okay, it's happening. I felt everything happening right then and there. So after I took that project in Tokyo for a month, I constantly started getting projects from my previous clients who I had many years ago, but really didn't necessarily contact them, but they just came back to me and said, hey, I'm looking to produce a Japanese TV show. We worked together 10 years ago. We really want to work with you again. Are you available? So I started getting a lot of those inquiries from old clients, and I thought it was really interesting how everything just started happening for me. So I just kept saying yes to most jobs, except for projects that didn't pay my worth. So after doing this constant practice of what is my worth? What is my value? What do I want? What do I deserve? I decided that my time is worth a lot more than taking in miserable projects or non-paid projects. So then I started putting a certain standard to the business that I do. And then that sort of took a whole different turn as well, because I said no to a project that was only going to pay me $500 a month. And then I turned that into $2,500 a month. So that was really interesting to learn, and really staying aware throughout the process, I think, was very helpful as well. Looking back a year ago, who I was then, and looking at myself now, I feel like I am a completely different person. I am confident. I am still constantly working on my boundaries and also putting myself first, but that is going to be a constant thing probably until I die. Being able to identify my insecurities, my fears, and the things that I wanted to let go but wasn't aware that I was still holding on to. I think finding all those things really helped me say, you know what? I don't care what you think. I'm going to do me because I believe in myself. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from the entire coaching experience I had with Bree. It was not only meeting with Bree every week and chatting with her and getting her wisdom, but also the community of ladies I really found encouraging, inspiring, and amazing. And being in a community where a lot of like-minded people are, that really was a big push for me as well. So it definitely was well worth the money and the time. If you are an entrepreneur looking to take a course with Bree, I would definitely say take a leap of faith, do yourself a favor, invest in yourself, and see where it goes. The me that I am today, that is different from the me a year ago, is I am a lot more confident in the decisions that I make because I trust myself. I think that's the biggest part about it. Prior to that, I had enough confidence, but I don't think I necessarily believed in myself as much as I do now. But going through all the steps and really like unfolding my entire life throughout the 6 months that I was with Bree, it really opened up my eyes to the fact that I am a capable human being and there's no reason for me to doubt myself. And that notion is with me every single day since. And it has really made me a stronger, better person, not only in a business sense, but in my personal life as well. I think I would just like to add that keep an open mind because you never know what'll really happen. I had no expectations when I went into coaching with Bree, but it turned out to be one of the best experiences and investments that I can do for myself. So just keep an open mind. And it's also great that Bree is a fellow entrepreneur who is making her own way as well and has been fighting for the past almost 10 years. So it's very inspiring and amazing to hear all of her stories as well.